Hey everybody, welcome to the full button tutorial on the 2025 Toyota 4Runner SR5. Typically I like to go from left to right and then work my way up top. This is more of an entry-level 4Runner. This is the new 4Runner, the first year of its generation, so it's got a lot of changes and a lot of buttons. With that said, let's begin. Starting on the door, the first button is actually the window lock button, so by pushing this you'll get a little green light that will prevent passengers from opening up their windows. Then there's a one touch down, one touch up on all four windows, so with a hard push or hard pull and release, the window goes up or down on its own. In front are the door lock and unlock buttons. If you feel for the two little nubbies on the lock button, you don't even have to look at it, you'll know that's the button to lock your doors. Then we have the left selection for the mirror adjustments, right selection, and then the neutral position, so we don't accidentally change the mirror adjustments. Down below we have two levers and a button. So the first lever here is the recliner. The second lever is the height adjustment, so you can pull and release to raise you or push and release to lower you. Then there's a little button that goes forward or back to adjust your lumbar support. And then down over here we have the locks for the floor mats. So if you give the floor mat a quarter turn, by pushing and turning, you can release the mat. You just want to do a push and a quarter turn. Make sure it's locked so it does not slide underneath your brake pedal. Tucked very far away is the lever to pop your hood, and then as we work our way up the dash, we have a bunch of empty plugs because these are going to be more for the higher trims, but you can activate the auto high beams with this button, which will be active once your headlights are in the auto position, and then the button to turn off the traction control and the vehicle stability control. Now, famously on Toyotas, this button is usually by the shifter, but they've moved it over here. You'd want to turn that off if you're driving on a dirt trail, gravel trail, or even in some deep snow where a little bit of wheel slip is appropriate. And above that, sorry for the angle, guys, just a little tough to get in here. Above that, the 4Runner has a headlight leveler. So there's actually 5 different positions with half positions in between for a total of 10, where you can level the headlights back down if you're loading it up with a lot of stuff. Because remember, the new 4Runner has now 6,000 pounds of tow capacity compared to 5,000. And this button here adjusts the brightness to the Speedo cluster and interior lights. So you push this, it'll keep getting dimmer, and then it resets to the brightest setting. And then the last button over here is the pop for the gas door, which is on the driver's side. Before we get to the steering wheel stalks, you can pull this lever down and adjust your steering wheel telescopically or up and down, then lock it back into place. But to more important stuff, we have the headlight stalk over here. So the bottom position is daytime running lights off. Then we have auto, parking lights, and all lights on all the time. Of course, when you're in auto or lights on, you can do the fog lights. The auto will not turn on the main headlight beams or the taillights until it's dark out or you're driving in a tunnel. For the turn signals, which are operated here, I can do a quick tap and release for 3 signals. Pretty nice for merging. And then onto the right stalk, we have the classic Toyota tried and true wiper stalk. So we have 3 different positions going down. The first click is intermittent, which I can change how often they go. The second click is a low constant, and then the bottom position all the way down is the high constant for the really bad rain. This section here is for the rear wiper. It's in the off position now, but if I twist it so the notch goes to intermittent, I'll get a once in a while wipe in the back. If I twist it 2 clicks to the on position, it's going to be a constant wipe in the back. If I pull the stalk towards me, it's going to wash the front windshield. If I push it away, just hold it for a couple seconds because the fluid has to travel. It's going to wash the back windshield. Onto the steering wheel. So if you've ever seen a tutorial about the Tundra or the new Tacoma, this is identical. We have all the buttons in the front, there's no buttons in the back. There's 2 pads. Starting with the left pad, we have the select and back button here. That's going to operate the MID screen, which stands for multi-information display. So as I go side to side, I can go through the different menus. I can also go up and down, which we're going to go into this next. I can select. Some options you'll have to push and hold the OK button. Some options you just push it quickly. Pressing the phone button will prompt the phone menu when you're connected to the wireless CarPlay or Android Auto. It'll also prompt you to connect to Bluetooth in case you're not connected yet. You can also answer calls and hang up calls with this button. You can change the volume to your phone calls or your music with these. And then if you push this quickly, it'll prompt the Toyota software system to help you out, the virtual audio assistant. But if you push and hold for about 2 seconds, it's going to use Siri or the Google Assistant, which is really nice and super useful. On to the right, we have the cruise control and a couple safety sense items. So this is going to activate your lane departure alert and lane trace assist. This here is going to change your cruise control and get that activated. Now, of course, you have to be in drive. Your cruise control mode, this activates the cruise, this changes the mode. So you can change the mode between the adaptive cruise and the steady speed or constant speed cruise right here. The bottom button over here is going to change the sensitivity level. Now, this also changes the sensitivity while driving, not even in cruise control. And you'll see this little symbol, those notches in gray. As I push that, it changes the sensitivity. So I can change that on the fly, which basically changes the distance that the car is going to keep while you're in the cruise. To do the cruise, I push the cruise button, and then I go up in speed or down in speed, and I can cancel it right here. This button here and these two buttons are for the music. This will go through AM, FM, Bluetooth, or Sirius. If I push and hold, it will mute or pause the music. And this will go through the different songs or the presets for your AM and your FM radio. On the Speedo cluster, we have an 8-inch screen here, but on the left, we have the coolant temperature, kind of in like a retro design. On the right, the fuel level, which is going to be signified in notches. And the little red park word all the way to the right is the electronic parking brake, just letting me know that it's on. That actually disconnects on its own. So if I take it out of park, you'll see it goes away. And when I put it back in park within a couple seconds, that parking brake is back on. But more importantly, onto the screen. So for the Speedo screen, on the top left, I have the outside temp, top right is the time, bottom right is actually the fuel range, and bottom left is the odometer. We have a big tachometer here digitally with a digital speed in the center. A couple symbols on the right over here with the little cars. The bottom one here is the lane departure alert, just showing you it's active. This is the lane trace assist, and this shows you that the adaptive cruise control is active. If I hit that cruise control mode, you'll see the symbol changes to constant speed. So if you want the old school one, you can go to the old school if you like. All right, now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the MID, aka the multi-information display. So using the up and down arrow and the side-to-side arrow on the left of the speedometer, there's some different icons here that pop up. These are all our different menus. So we have the economy menu, the safety sense and compass menu, music, information about the trip, settings to a bunch of different stuff, and warnings. Starting with the economy menu, I can go side to side. There's 2 pages. This shows me my total average. I can push OK to reset. Don't judge this mileage, guys, because the car hasn't been driven that much at all. You want to go through a gas tank or two before it starts calculating the appropriate mileage. But when I go over here, over one to the right is the eco indicator, so it's going to give you a real-time readout of your throttle response, basically, to show you if you're driving economically or not. And then down below I have the compass. It's even going to show the road I'm driving on. And the adaptive cruise mode. So it's going to give me color coordinated symbols here. So it's going to be gray blinking when it's detecting. The lane borders are going to go green or orange depending on what the system is doing. And like I mentioned, you can change the level of sensitivity just like we saw before right there. Also, the steering wheel symbol is going to be green, gray, or orange depending on what it's doing. You'll want to take a look at the user manual because it gets a little confusing, but to keep it simple, when it's green, it's working. When it's orange, it tried, but you still passed. And then when it goes on and off gray, it means it's sensing. Here is the music. Of course, I can push OK to change the source. This will show you the artist, the album, the song. Now, let's go to the left to the first page, the information menu. Here's my distance and my trip time. Now this says 2.5 miles because I just got back from the test drive on the review video, which is going to be linked in the description down below. Here's my trip A, trip B, individual tire pressure, really nice to see. Traction monitor, so it's going to show me which wheels are losing traction, that's really nice. My pitch and roll in case I'm off-roading or parking on really steep sloped areas. The trailer mode BSM I can activate too, so I can put in my trailer information and it's going to change the way the blind spot monitor works to account for my trailer. On the top I have the voltometer, which shows me my voltage in the battery, so I can see if something's going on. Then I have the oil pressure down below. Don't be alarmed if that's a little on the 3/4 area-ish when you start the vehicle. The T24As, most engines, they're going to be a little on the higher side once you start. But if it was a little on the low side or too high, that kind of lets you know ahead of time, hey, I got to check something out. Next, really important stuff. The top one is going to be the oil temperature. So you want to make sure your oil temperature is kind of up there towards a quarter to a middle before you start really boosting the turbo, especially the middle. And then the transmission temperature. So that's a little gear symbol with a thermometer. That transmission temperature is good so you can see when your transmission is up to temp, especially if you're considering doing some crawling. Next up, sorry for the bumps, guys. Next up is the boost gauge. So as the turbo spools up, the more it's spooling, the more you're going to see those bars turn white. And just a pro tip, not that this is anything super pertinent, but if you've really been getting on that turbo, even the owner's manual says just let the vehicle idle for about a minute when you're done. Say you're on the highway for a while, or you've been towing, or you're speeding around, park it, let it idle for about a minute, and then you're good and that turbo can cool off. Then back to the beginning. All right, let's go down one more. Now we have the settings to a bunch of different stuff. So lane departure alert, hold OK. I can change all this stuff. So I can turn it on or off. I can change the alert option from vibrate to audio, the timing, so how sensitive it is. Next, the blind spot monitor. I can turn it on or off, or if I hold OK, I can change the timing and the brightness. If the bulbs need to be a little bit brighter, those are the little icons on your side mirrors that light up in orange when somebody's in your blind spot. Pre-collision system. This is part of Toyota Safety Sense, so this is going to alert you to brake if you're going to hit a car or person, and then brake if you don't brake on time. I can change the sensitivity or turn the system on and off. Next up is the proactive driving assist. This gives you gentle steering and braking input if you're taking turns too fast. That comes off from the factory because it spooks people sometimes. But I can change the sensitivity, the steering assist, and the deceleration assist over here on or off. Also the obstacle anticipation assist. If it senses an obstacle coming, that's on when the system is on as well, which is nice. Here's the RCTA, or the rear cross traffic alert. When you're in reverse, it uses the blind spot sensors to sense when there's movement perpendicular to you. So if you're backing out of a spot and it senses a car before you can see it, it's going to do a sequence of 4 beeps. So it's going to sound like dee-dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee-dee. That's letting you know, hey, I sense something driving perpendicular to you, and it's warning you to be careful. Let's check out the settings for that. So basically just the volume. Moving on, road sign assist. So this will sense certain road signs and display them on the screen. But for the speed limit, I can change the way that it notifies me. If I go to above speed limit, I can actually select visual and audio, which is nice. And in vehicle settings, got to push and hold OK. The brake suggestion, so if the sway warning detects that you're driving tired, it's going to alert you to take a break. Dynamic radar cruise control, also known as the adaptive cruise control. I can change the acceleration level, the guide messaging on or off, or the curve speed reduction. That's really nice because you can customize to make it work for you and your comfort level. Some trailer settings here, because remember we have 6,000 pounds of tow capacity. I can add a trailer and it's going to ask for a bunch of different information. See, and it goes on and on and on, but I just don't want to set a trailer right now. You can deselect trailers, edit your trailers, delete them. So that's nice, and it modulates different things like your transmission timing and cooling for those different types of trailers and your blind spot monitor system. Trailer light check. I can initiate that and it's going to check my trailer lights. Tire pressure warning system. So I can do a tire set switch, tire rotation, setting, units, all that stuff. I can reset my maintenance and my oil maintenance for the oil changes. I can turn off the rear seat reminder if that gets annoying. The stoplight display, those 2 little red bars on the bottom, if I don't like seeing those and those are distracting, I can turn those off, and back to the top. Lastly, the meter settings. So if I hold OK, I can change the language between one of these 3. The units, the meter style. So I can go more casual. See how the tack changes? Tough, most people's favorite, and sporty. Super easy to read. I'm going to leave it where it was from the factory. So neat, you can kind of customize the personality a little bit. And lastly, the warnings menu. So if there's a warning about tire pressure, maintenance coming due, or anything a little bit more severe, it's going to light up orange and then store that warning symbol on the bottom of the screen and remind you every time you start the vehicle. And then when I push down, I go back to the top. That was a lot and we went pretty quick. That wraps up the MID and the Speedo cluster. Now let's talk about buttons down by the shifter. 4 buttons by the shifter. We have a bunch of blank plugs. This is going to be for your higher trims, especially your Tier D off-road and Pro and Limited. But the first thing here, I call this the tuna can. So this is kind of like a nice rubberized finish over here. It's going to default to drive mode, so I can go to Eco, Normal, or Sport. Let me show you what that looks like over here. So it's going to change the color on the screen. Eco saves you gas, a little less power. Normal's kind of just for regular driving, and Sport gives you more power, a little less fuel economy, but a lot more fun to drive. There's no perfect time to use one or the other, just use the one you like. And you can change it while moving, by the way. I do get asked that quite often. You can change this whenever. Now, if I was to push tow haul, it's going to activate tow haul mode, and it's going to increase the transmission cooling and change the transmission timing to tow better. And then afterwards, I can go back to drive mode, and I can change the drive mode like that. But in tow haul mode, it's going to stick to tow haul. I have to actually push this to get back to drive mode, which takes it out of tow haul mode. Now for the 4x4, I use my thumb to push this little guy and just right over to 4 high. You can do 4 high on the fly, which means while moving. So while driving up to about 50 miles an hour or so, I can go in or out of the 4-wheel high. To get to 4 low, I would have to be in 4 high, come to a stop, put it in neutral, then I can get into 4 low. Then I select drive or reverse. To get out of 4 low, you have to go back into neutral, go to 4 high, give it a second, and then you can go back to 2 high if you want to. Then pick your gear. And remember, after I put it in park in a few seconds, the parking brake applies on its own. So you don't have to pull or push this on your own. The only reason that they give you this is in case you want to disengage them to service the brakes. This feature is really nice, which I can't demonstrate because I'm parked kind of on a cliff over here. When you push this, which you have to be buckled up, you'll get this symbol in green, and then you'll also see it in yellow. So I can't actually give it gas, but I'll just show you what it looks like. So when I push this, I get the green symbol over here. And when I'm in drive, I get it in yellow. Once I'm in the yellow, I can actually take my foot off the brake while I'm in drive, and it's chilling. Once I give it a little bit of gas, which I'll just do a tiny, it releases. And then when I come to a stop, it reholds, and I can take my foot off the brake. Again, pretty cool. It only works in drive, which is nice. So that's pretty much all the buttons by the shifter. There's some charging over here, 2 USBs and a 12 volt. Let's talk about the AC. So for the SR5, it is not a dual zone climate control, and there's also no automatic climate control. So you have to pick your temperature, and you have to pick your fan speed. You also have to manually select the air conditioner and the recirculate if you want to. These little levers do light up at night, which is nice, but I have to move this so you can see better. Front defrost is right over here. Rear defrost with defrosting side mirrors is next to it. The mode changes the air direction, which you can see on the little screen. Sorry, that's a piece of dust. See that? It's a warm day, so I'll leave it here. I can recirculate here, so it's going to show on the screen, and then AC is activated because it's pretty warm out. The temperature is just kind of like a fantasy thing. It's not really telling me the number, but it's simple to use and it's easy. I would have liked to see the automatic, but no big deal. Let me know what you think down below. This is a great time to just take a second and say, folks, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. It would be such a huge help if you could just hit the like button and the subscribe button, because those things will help you see more of my Toyota content, and it will help me help more people. And it's also going to help other people who might not have normally seen this Toyota content access it, because YouTube will push it out further since you like it. If you do, and you think it's worth it, please do that for me. That would be such a huge help. We have these 4 big vents here. We can't turn them off like we can in the RAV, but what we can do is put them all the way to the side, and it pretty much closes them like this. So there's no little scrolly wheel. Oh, and one more button I forgot to mention, the hazards. They put them all the way over here because I don't think they could integrate it in this spot, and this is where the heated steering wheel would be on your higher trims. There's also a little bit of storage over here. I don't know yet because I haven't seen it, but I wonder if some are going to have the integrated trailer brake controller. We will see that in the future. Time will tell. If you've been in a higher trim 4Runner, since this vehicle is so new, let me know if some of them are coming with that trailer breaker. Onto the screen. So, linked in the description down below, I have a video where I go over the screen in depth. It's on an Apple phone, it's on my phone. The Android Auto and the CarPlay are wireless. So you connect to Bluetooth and you'll have your maps, phone, audio, everything all in one. It works great, but just to keep things concise, I filmed that video separately just so I could link it, and then we could keep this video more concise. But you still have a volume knob and a power, which is really nice to see. And of course, here's the engine push start. It is a smart key system, so you just leave the key in your pocket and you grab the door handle and unlocks, start it right up. You need the brake to start it, but you don't need the brake to turn it off. Moving up top, no auto-dimming rearview mirror, just a simple flip mirror, but a glassless case with a nice soft backing, which is nice to see. 10 years of Safety Connect standard or until the 4G network goes away. So that means Toyota can send EMS right to you if the airbags go off, or you can push the button if you're having an emergency. Something I really like is a pilot light on the base level. So that gives you a nice moonlight over here so you can see what's going on without getting distracted looking for it. Then we have one of my favorite buttons. Then you pull it for the back windshield to go up, goes all the way down, which is nice. The real 4Runner people know about that. That's been around for a while. Individual lights with a nice frosted border so you don't go blind. And we have off interior lights when the doors open and all the lights on now. For the sun visor, when you detach it, there's a little sliding plastic piece. On the Tundra it pulls like this, but we get a little sliding plastic. And then that's just the microphone system for when you're using the voice commands on all three. I tried to keep it quick, I tried to keep it concise. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If this helped you, please let me know in the comments. Give the video a like if you thought it was worth it. Thank you for making it this far. I want to give a great big shout out to my supporters and my subscribers. You guys make all of this worth it. If you're new to the channel and this was your first video, thank you so much for checking me out. I hope you enjoy more Toyota content from me. If there's any questions at all, ask me down in the comments down below because you know that's where I live. This is Brian signing out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.